Little technical difficulties, but welcome to Together We Serve TV show. It's a Friday. It's Good Friday. Praise the Lord. Want to make sure I put that out there. And happy Easter to all of you. You guys are going to love this guest. He's become a friend. He's much more than just a business partner, but a friend. And I love working with people like this. They have a big heart to help others. Dave, welcome to the show.
What's up, Steve? How you doing? How's Cali?
Cali's nice. It's a little cloudy. We had rain yesterday, but it's not like the Chicago, that's for sure.
Now we're ready. We're ready for your weather, my friend. But no, we're doing well here. We're blessed, and we're ready to celebrate today's Good Friday, obviously, and we're hosting Easter Sunday, so we're gonna rock and roll.
I'm blowing the sun out your way. I know it gets very cold out there. I want to jump into this because business is complicated. Business can be hard. Our head gets in the way. There's a ton of coaches out there. You consult, and I love that. Not that coaches are great. I love them.
Sure.
But you really work to the heart of the person. I want you to talk about Win the 16. What the heck does that mean?
Win the 16, my friend. Thank you for asking. And if I haven't said it yet, thanks for having me on the show. You're doing an amazing job there, not only on your podcast, which I know is one of the top in the world, but this TV show is really taken off. So kudos to you, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, I had to, and I mean it. It's authentic. You know that. Win the 16 is all about our waking 16 hours. We've got 24 hours in a day, we all know. But, Steve, guys like you and many of us out there watching and this show today, we neglect sleep. That's just the way it is. And we have all the excuses in the world. We're busy, etc., family, whatever it might be. But sleep is good for you. So Win the 16, when I went back to the lab to create it, it really supported we need to try to get sleep. So I said, you know what? The average healthcare provider says we should be getting, on average, generally speaking, 7 to 9 hours a day. I split the difference. I came up with, hey, let's try to get 8 hours. And the other 16 waking hours, those are our hours, Steve, to work on being our best selves. And ultimately, going to bed at night proud of the day we had, no matter what happened. So that's what Win the 16 is all about. Principles and strategies to be our best selves, my friend.
Now, there's only usually 8 hours a day. Me and you, it's a little different when it comes to business, but let's use the 9 to 5 or just a generic.
Yeah, sure.
You made it 16 hours, so there's 8 in my business. If I work for Apple and I'm on payroll and I'm 8 to 5, what do those other 8 do for me?
Fair. Well, one, let's be real. Even for the people that are your traditional 8 to 5, 9 to 5, they're taking stuff home nowadays. The world has changed. If you're doing business virtually in Singapore, in London, here in the United States, we know that comes into play. But those other 8 hours are not only for us to get ourselves better. And let me start off with first thing in the morning before we even get to work. I always say Win the 16 is this. The first 16 minutes you wake up, Steve, do something for yourself. Do something to get off to an early success. Do what the Admiral said, the famous speech we know in, I think it was on the 2010-13 era. Make your bed. Drink 12 ounces of water. We're all dehydrated first thing in the morning. Get that water down. We know it's great for the body. It not only hydrates you, it gets you ready for the day. Maybe get out there and take a 10-minute walk, especially now as sun's starting to come out earlier here in the central part of the country. Get out in the fresh air. Maybe if meditating is not your thing, maybe what you do is read a book, read something that help you get off to a great day. I call it early successes to your day. In fact, I go a step further. Try to win your day by 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Try to win your day. Now, I know that's not real world, but I think it just does draw a line in the sand for all of us, Steve. It's 10 o'clock. Am I winning? Am I on offense today? Or have I been playing defense, checking emails and masquerading, checking emails and responding? And I say masquerading, and not because it's Halloween time of the year, because it's not. It's masquerading because usually emails are defense. We're responding to other people's agendas. We're not on our priorities. We're not on our goals. We're not moving the needle necessarily where we need to go. Now, I'm not saying ignore them. I'm just saying, I think you and I talked about this one time. The average person checks email 28 times a day. I don't know what the right number is. All I know is maybe we set a schedule when we check emails. What we need to do, though, is we need to make sure we're monitoring our productivity every minute. I'm a micromanager of time, not people. Let me say that again. I micromanage time, not people. We empower people. We trust and inspire people, like Steve Covey's new book. Well, it's not that new anymore. It's over a year old. But time, we micromanage that. We decide and we dictate what we do with our time, even though many of us would say, Dave, I can't control my time. I would argue back. Sometimes we need to say no. Steve, you're busy. You're doing multiple businesses. You're networking all over the world. How do you handle your time?
It's revenue in the top of my head. You caught me there, and I love that. It's a great question. What's a revenue generating activity I need to do? Emails usually are not. And I love that you said that. We need to answer them, and I get a ton of them because there could be referrals. Now, an email, you give me a great referral, and God bless you for doing all the great referrals. That's a revenue generating activity. But that email is somebody's newsletter, nothing wrong with the newsletter. Put it aside for the day and pick 10 minutes out of the day and read those newsletters.
I think
and stuff.
No, Steve, thank you for saying that. And I know every time you've been coaching me on different things, on business and our side conversations, you're always about serving others. And then you're also always about talking about revenue and those type of activities. And it's a brilliant point because those two things are critical to our success. I call them difference makers for our businesses and what we're doing. I think the point of it is this email issue, and it is a hot topic. When I'm doing talks, whether it's in big settings or training sessions, people can get very defensive about their emails, my friend. And I always tell them, hey, the fact that we're having this conversation is a step in the right direction. I'm not here to manage it. I'm not the email police. What I am saying is let's just be cognizant of so the day doesn't get away from us because we don't want to be this person. And I'm sure you're going to ask me this, but I'm going to throw it out there before you even ask me is life is not about talking at the dinner table how busy you are. Life is about talking at the dinner table was how productive were you today? What did you do to light up the scoreboard for all those athletes out there listening? What did you do to move the needle on your goals, your priorities, your network or ecosystem you're building, or the revenue you're trying to create for your company? I always tell people I have to send invoices out to make a living, but I don't consider that productivity.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And let's delve into this deeper. Social media. How many people tell you they go down the black hole of social media, they watch one video or YouTube? I guess that's social media. I always forget that it is. But again, are those productive videos you're watching, productive posts that you're looking at? Same thing, right?
Oh, absolutely. I do one-on-one coaching as well, besides training and development and public speaking with small, medium-sized businesses. When I do one-on-one coaching, I gave a challenge to one of my clients the other day. I said, I'd like you to put your phone away from you every day for the next 23 days. I always give obscure numbers. I never say a week. I never say 10 days. I never say 30. I always give them different numbers. And I said 23 days. Not 21 out of 23, 23 consecutive days to help you build a path, not only for your mental toughness and your habit building muscle, but also I want you to do it straight. So these 23 days, the challenge I gave them was I want that phone away from you for part of your day for one straight hour. Not even in the same room. You can't touch it for an hour. For some people, that's easy. Then I move the needle up. For another client, I said, I want 2 hours away. Much easier said than done.
Yeah. Well, with social media too, you're going to hear this, I'm sure. Well, that's part of my business. I do advertise, I do this,
Yes.
Dave, you're taking away money out of my pocket.
Again, nor am I the phone police. What I'm getting people to do is to think, to challenge their own selves in their own habits to see if there's an opportunity, because every minute we can gain back towards productivity and ultimately win the 16, which is being our best selves. If we can find, let's even say it's 14 minutes, that's 14 minutes you can do things to drive revenue, build your ecosystem, or maybe it's even for my clients who say, oh, I wish I could exercise, but I can't. I just gave you 14 minutes. Do 10 minutes of burpees. That's enough. That'll be a good day at the office in terms of your workout. Burpees weren't fun when we were 13 years old. They're not fun anymore at 54 either, but they're a phenomenal full body workout, exercise, cardio.
Yeah.
So there's just so many different things, Steve, we can do. But business and life is a game of inches. Little things add up. Minutes add up to hours, and we know where that song can go.
And mindset changes. Now you built a habit. You're doing burpees 10 minutes a day, and maybe it's 15 minutes a day the next week. And it grows. And it's so well said, Dave. That's why I love working with you. Because I talked to a very successful guy. He goes, you either do 0 or you do 10. 0 gets you nowhere, 10 gets you somewhere.
Absolutely.
And this guy's a multimillionaire. So it's coming from a successful guy who's done it.
The only thing I do want to bring up on this topic, and it goes into this whole wish I could do this, but time's not on my side. Because I know you deal with very successful organizations and people all the time. And I'm empathetic to that. I get it. I understand that. We all raise our hands. There's not enough time in the day. I'm with that. But whenever a client or potential client says, Dave, I just run out of time. And I say, okay, before we dive into that, let's dive into something first. When you say that, is this in the column of, I really, really want to do it and wish I could, but time's not on my side? Or is it a facade? Is it, I'd like to do it, but they don't, it's not a passion. They're not really into it. They're just kind of saying, oh yeah, I'd like to do it. It's just time. Because those are two different issues. If it is something you really want to do, whatever that might be, we'll make time. We'll find it. We'll look under every stone. We'll turn things over. We'll micromanage your schedule, and we'll find it. But there is a massive difference, because many people, you and I both know, personally and professionally, they mask, I don't have time, to when the reality is they don't care. It's not an issue. It's not important. So if it isn't, let's not even talk about it. It's not that you don't have time. It's not important. That's different.
Big difference, huge difference. And that's, again, mindset. And that's a lot that you do subtly. You don't call yourself a mindset coach, but I think you're an expert in mindset, because that's when the 16 is. It's all about here.
Win the 16 is a mindset. Do you want to wake up today, tomorrow, and kick ass and win? Or do you want to, what I always call it, sleepwalk into your day? Good luck if you sleepwalk and you're competing against Steve Ramona, who's jumping out of bed and going after it. Right? Just by that, you're off to a competitive edge and you're winning. And there's data out there to support that in the afternoons, people start to slide. Energy, mental toughness, focus, all of that. If you take care of yourself, sleep, put things good in your body, and I'm not a nutritionist, but we all know it's good and bad, and you stay focused, what a competitive edge we have against our competitors who are good out there. We know our competitors are tough, they're driven, they're smart, but the data supports they're not the same at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon as they are maybe around 10 or 11. That is a competitive edge, Steve, if we take advantage of that.
That's an incredible $1 million tip, but also it's a hard thing to do. It really is, because I'm going to tell you my story is when I changed to get up at 5:15, 5:30 in the morning, by 12:30, I have 7 hours in. And of course, I'm West Coast, East Coast. There's other variables.
Yes.
But you're right. By 4 o'clock, I stopped taking meetings because I know it's I'm not fully focused. I'm not creative. All the things that are important in meetings and doing your business are not there. So I attest to exactly what you said. I probably changed a lot of my life because of you telling me that.
Oh, well, thank you. Do you, I believe you told me, but I forgot. What is your most creative time of the day, or do you have one?
I think it's between 5:30 and 7:30. Nobody's up. I'm alone. I get my coffee, get whatever. I'm up doing some trading. I'm doing some creativity. Maybe I'm doing a podcast. But those are the type lines, and then you kind of waver off a little bit because you're not tired, but you're exhausted is not the right word. That's too strong. But you're a little down, and then you pick it up after you. And I've learned, and you told me this, and again, this is why I have Dave on, is take a break.
Absolutely.
Walk away for 10, 15 minutes, and I'm starting to do that. And that's helped too, because I could sit in front of this computer. I have a ton of work to do, and I could just keep going and forget that I've been on too long.
Absolutely. And the mindset that we grew up in with grind till you drop, completely respect the work ethic. I completely respect the baby boomer generation.
Mm-hmm.
My generation has kind of followed a little bit of that, but not as much the Gen X. With that said, it's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. Because you grind out and you just keep grinding and putting your head against the wall and fighting through. And I come back refreshed. Good luck. Good luck, I'll say, my friend. Good luck.
It's running a sprint and you're a yard ahead of me. And that sprint, that 100-meter sprint, you're probably going to win. You have the advantage.
And I would say it's the quality. And you and I are talking about taking an hour off at 2:30. We're saying take 10 minutes to go walk outside, see the sun, which we know it's all good for you, not just the vitamin D, but for your brain and your body. The data supports it. You read it out there. It just helps. Mm-hmm. If you get that 10 minutes to step aside to move those next 2 hours, I'll bet on that every day. And now the other day I was working on my house, so I could do this. I actually at 2:30, I was a little sore. I took an ice bath for 5 minutes. Now I know I'm not encouraging that to anybody, but for me, I was ready to roll after that. I'm a big cold shower guy, as you know, it's in the book. But that 5-minute ice bath, let's go.
Yeah, it's our now my friend, and you introduced me, Mark Jacobson. It allowed him to walk again. He was paralyzed and by the cold plunge, and we won't get into that. I hope to have Mark on the show, but
yes.
I do the same thing. I learned from you and from another person that mentioned and here's a tip. Well, tell them what your shower plunge is. Tell them what you do.
Oh, every day, first thing in the morning when I roll out of bed is I have the 12 ounces of water next to me. I drink that, and then I immediately go into the shower as cold as possible for 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how quickly I need to get out of there. And I will caution everybody out there, you build up to it. I've been doing that for years. So if you've never done it before, build up. Maybe you do it 10, 20 seconds. Maybe you go hot to cold just to start, but you'll build your endurance up in time. So don't get discouraged if the first time you do it, after 10 seconds, it's torture, because it is. It is. But you'll find the clarity you get when you get out of there is unbelievable. It's a dopamine kick you get first thing in the morning. You are alert and you are ready to go. I don't even need coffee. I don't even drink coffee for a couple hours, actually. I'm ready to go. And then I'll have my black cup of coffee, nothing in it, about an hour and a half, 2 hours later. So it just works for me. It's a routine. I've already feel like I've accomplished something. But the biggest thing is mentally, it gets me going, Steve.
Yeah, and we need that for our business. And audience, what we're doing here is, you may have picked it up or not, but you're going to see his website down below. Go to his website, get the book, or go to Amazon. But he's showing you different ways that you personally can win the 16. It's like I got Kansas City's playbook. I'm a 49er fan. We'll just use this analogy in the Super Bowl. And if I got their playbook, I think the game may have changed a little different. Maybe the Niners win, and you guys still play the game. But you're giving the playbook to win the 16 in your book, on your website, in your consulting. What's that going to do for me?
And it's spelled out. In one of the chapters, I'm not Tom Brady. I'm not Elon Musk. I'm not David Goggins. I'm the guy next door. I'm crystal clear in that. I've got 2 decades of leadership experience in big Fortune 500 companies. I wrote a book based on my experiences and things that work that they're simple. I didn't say they were easy. I didn't say that, but they're simple things and they're little steps to success. The most reason you and I talked this new, the biggest reason why the January resolutions don't work is a couple things. One is they're usually not fully authentic. I want to do this. They're usually kind of wish lists. And then they take their wish list and they move it into, I'm going to do it January 1. And then it's dead by February or March. The other thing is I would challenge people, and I don't like that word challenge, but I couldn't think of anything else off the top of my head real quick here. I would throw it out there to people, and some people actually get a little irritated when I do this with its clients, with its one-on-one groups, is I start them off really small. If we're changing habits, one of the things really popular right now is helping people with problem solving to be better at it and quicker at it. And I've got a 5-step model on problem solving, just as I've got an 11-step model on how to be more efficient and effective. I don't give them all. I go, let's get 1 or 2 things and work on that. No, I go, nope. Let's get good at this. Let's do it. Let's take care of it. Because what I found is we all get overwhelmed. We all get frustrated. It's like the health in January. People go cold turkey, or they decide I'm going to start running a couple miles every day. How about just walking for 10 minutes every day? Build that pathway for mental toughness. Build that pathway for the habit, and let's increase it once we get this thing going.
Yeah. It's baseball season. No, I love this. It's baseball season. Cubs or White Sox? Which one are you?
Well, I'm a Chicago Southside Catholic.
Southside, okay. So
I'm a Sox guy.
Yeah. So let's use this. Well, I just said let's use this analogy. All you sports people out there, and it goes football. It's baseball season. But when spring training started for the White Sox, they didn't just go up and start playing games. Right. The pitchers practiced their running to first base. I was just watching a video. The guy did it like 30 times. Mm-hmm. They didn't jump in and start playing games. They did the basics, got those better. That's all you're doing, really.
And you're so, I love that one. You're so right. Steve, the other piece of it I always share with people is this. You need a vision for the end. I'll say that again. You need a vision for where you're going. Because I always think about, when I'm doing the hard stuff, what is going to be at the end. Going to network functions and meeting strangers on a night that maybe I'm not all up and ready to do that. Well, what gets me through it, as well as what gets me back on my game? I think about the end. What could come from this? And the same thing with doing hard stuff. For people out there saying, I don't have time. Okay, I'll try getting up 15 minutes earlier. Great. Good for you. That's a start. I would also then throw, if you're getting up 15 minutes earlier, this is usually the hardest for people, is go to bed 15 minutes earlier. Which you have total control over. We have total control. But that's where the surfing on the phones, whatever people might
TV,
whatever
all that stuff. Yeah.
And I know we want to spend time with our significant others, family members. I get it. But if you ever talk to the people on TV who do 4 a.m. shows, or the radio people, they got it down. And they were no different than you and I. They're very disciplined on that sleep. You look at LeBron James, like him, hate him, whatever it is. I have total respect for his commitment to sleep. He sleeps a lot at night. And then he also, in his job, he can take naps during the day. And that is one of the big reasons his health has been unbelievable all these years. Not just the exercise, not just the nutrition, it's the sleep. I call the 3-headed monster. You do pretty good sleeping, you do pretty good eating, and you do pretty good exercising. Man, you're putting yourself in a great opportunity to be your best self, mentally and physically.
Pretty good, too. Pretty good. I want you to hear that. He's pretty good. He didn't say excellent.
No.
He didn't say rock star. It's pretty good.
Yes.
Did it. You did all three. And you said simple like 3 times. And I love that you did that. Because, audience, I want you to think about 12 ounces of glass of water. Here's how simple it is. You're going to bed at 9 o'clock. At 8:55, you go to whatever your water thing is. You fill up your water, you put it around your nightstand, you go to sleep. You wake up, it's there. So preparation is important for Win the 16 too.
Well, yes, absolutely. I mean, we can go a step further. My Monday is already planned what I'm doing for work. I don't need Sunday night to plan. That's done. Already got it. Now, if you call me over the weekend or you send me something, a business opportunity, well, then I'll get it in there. That's different. But if nothing comes my way, my Monday is ready to go. I don't need Sunday night for that. Sunday night, I can read some business articles. Maybe I can read I'm right now reading The Comfort Crisis, which, by the way, you'd love that book. My friend Al at Harvard recommended that. And it just talks, the title gives it away. The crisis we're in the world is, at times, it's too comfortable.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to go for Monday. And I'll go a step further. Besides, from a business standpoint, I already know what I'm going to do for my health on Monday, because Sunday, when we celebrate Easter, I will overeat most likely, and I will have sugar with my wife's dessert, and I don't eat sugar. So Monday, I've already know what I'm going to fast that day. I'm going to get a swim in early in the morning. I already have that planned out on how I'm going to neutralize the damage that I'm going to do on Sunday from Easter.
Yeah.
We all have control. We all have agency. We control those kind of things. It just
agency is a great word. We have so much control. Yeah, the mind gets in the way, but to know that you have control is so cool. So let's go ahead, Dave.
No, I was going to say, it's just if it's, and I'm going to go back to this. It's just if it's important to us, and that's why I always talk to my clients and organizations: is this a nice to have or a need to have? If it's a nice to have, it's not going to work. But for me, having my business ready to go Monday is a need to have, and I'm going to do it, no question. As well as getting back on the health way I want to live my life. Monday, I'll be ready to go again after Sunday's brunch that we're throwing at our house. Right? That's a need to have. I'm putting the time, the effort into it, and we're ready to go. So I always tell people, don't masquerade or kid yourself, because it's just a waste of time and energy. Get to the things that you really want to do, and then we'll build a plan together. Let's go. We'll figure it out. Yeah. We might have to do the hard stuff, though, and delete something.
Yeah, and that's hard. That's hard. And the need to have, and what was it? Need to have and
the nice to have.
Nice to have. Love those. Need to have, nice to have. Here's the cool thing. It's different for everybody.
Yes.
Me and you get up early in the morning. You don't need to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to be effective. If it's 8 o'clock, you work 9 to 5, you still have your 16. The 16 never changes. It just changes the time. That's why I love what you're doing. And with that, let's take a break. Let's get some water. We'll take about a 2 or 3 minute break, and we'll come right back and talk more about accountability. We're going to jump into accountability.
Great.
Welcome to our show. Together we serve. Welcome to our show. Sit back and enjoy. We will talk with people about their stories. With our host, Jim Ramona. We're ready to start. Together we serve. Together we serve. Together we serve. Together
We got the sultry jazz tones going crazy. A little podcast TV show song. But let's jump into this. Accountability, another big component of Win the 16. Let's talk about accountability.
I get this question sometimes from leaders in their organizations. How do we hold people accountable? They'll be like, Dave, can you teach it? And I said, 100%. It's absolutely a skill. It's like mental toughness. People ask me that all the time. Can you teach it? It's a skill. It's a power skill or soft skill, whatever people want to use, whatever term. But accountability is a skill. It can be taught. So then the next question is, how? How do you teach accountability? And why that doesn't happen all the time is because it's hard. It starts with asking questions of people. It starts with finding out what's important to them. Getting people to be accountable on things that aren't of value and important, good luck. Good luck. That's such an imperative piece. If you've got a mission in an organization or for yourself, but it's not important or value, I always make my clients, one of the first things I do, share this with everyone. I want to know your 5 core values. I want you to Google it, see the 100 of them out there, take a walk, spend time by yourself, and really come up with your 5 core values, and then the 5 things that truly motivate you, not the superficial. In the sales world, a lot of people would say money. Why? Why money? Well, because I want to have a house like Steve Ramona one day. Okay, so it's not the money. It's the house that you want to buy of his in LA, in California. And I can't wait to come visit you, by the way, my friend. Yes. Accountability starts with understanding what drives that person, what inspires them, what are their values, what's important, and what they want. You get all that. And unfortunately, Steve, most of the time, many people don't dive that deep with people and their employees or their friends. It goes something like this. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do more of that. Why? Why? See, for me, the whole exercise and living a long life, I've said it since I'm 30 for people who know me. I truly want to live till I'm 100. And I want it to be a good 100. So for me to get up earlier than I normally do to do what I have to do, it's not that hard because it's a value, it's a motivator. I'm very accountable, and I'm also in a text chain with my brother and Al, and we hold each other accountable. That's the environment, and that's what we have to do to teach people to be accountable, is we have to understand them. And then we have to let them know we're going to hold you accountable for this. And Steve, when I say I'm going to hold you accountable, I want you to look at it like this. It's a gift. I'm giving you a gift. I'm not micromanaging. I'm not looking over your shoulder. What I am doing is I'm providing you a gift. And if I don't hold you accountable, Steve, I'm letting you down as your partner and your friend and a business associate. So I will hold you accountable because I'm not going to let you down. So everyone out there, encourage people to have an accountability support system. And if people say they're going to do something, encourage them to tell the whole world. Yeah. Many people don't share their goals and they don't share what they're going to do, because if they do that, what does it do, Steve?
Doesn't happen.
Well, it makes them accountable. And ultimately, everybody wants to be accountable.
Yeah.
So tell everybody.
Yeah.
We just did a 5-day fast. Tell everybody. Because as you're about to quit on day 3, you're like, oh, I told Ramona in California I'm doing this. And he's going to ask me about it. Am I really going to say I stopped? Little things like that are competitive edges in holding people accountable. Get them to share it. Broadcast it. Support people. Let them know it's a gift. and then tell them, you need to give that same gift that I'm giving you.
I love this. Now I hear, and you may have heard, but I hear people talking about, I'll make my own self accountable. I don't need an accountability partner. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, I think the number one accountability, I would say, I agree on the one thing you just said. 100%, you have to be self accountable. Because I can't be with you 24/7, Mr. Ramona. You have to be. As your friend, though, I will also help you in this journey and be accountable and help you be accountable when you have those dark days. Because we are not, I've got a great visual on one of my slides. It shows a person in a suit, and the shadow of the person in the suit is a person that looks like Superman or Superwoman. It's got the cape. And the slide is all about habits and discipline and motivation. And it says, when I'm motivated and inspired and feeling great, I feel like Superman. The problem is we all don't feel that way 24/7. So there are days we just feel like the normal everyday businesswoman or man in our normal suit going to work, or teacher or plumber or fireman. And those are great times when our support system and our accountability buddy can give us that next jolt and help us. I do a Mindset Monday I throw out on LinkedIn and my social media every week. I know for 90-some% of the people, they might it's BS. They might not look at it. Awesome, great, good for you. But I guarantee a few people it hits them. It hits them.
Important.
And it helps them be accountable for whatever they need to do that day. Did I say that right? I know we went deep into this one, but accountability is big.
This is how right. Yeah, this is how right you said it.
Let's go. Let's go.
It's cherry. It is a huge. I know we're kind of making a joke of it, but it's so big if you're in business and in life. You're accountable to your kids, your spouse, your best friend, all that. Times we got a few minutes here, but I want to get into the Win the 16 one-on-one consulting that you do. Walk us through the journey, what that looks like. I come aboard, I want to start working with you. What am I going to, receive, and how's my journey going to look?
Well, it's interesting how it came about is when I'm doing coaching, training coaching sessions, public speaking, I did some one-on-one coaching, but now what happens, a lot of times companies hire me, and then they end up hiring me to do one-on-one coaching with their people, or people just pull me to the side and say, hey, do you do that? And I do. So what I do, it's all customized to the individual. I gave out one thing I do immediately. I make everyone get their arms around what's important to you. What are your values? What are your motivators? And I'll give them pushback on that. I also then will start them on a journey of understanding what's their genius? What's their superpower? Even more than their strengths. Like, what are they out of control? They're amazing at it. I want them to uncover all of this stuff. If you noticed, I didn't say anything about weaknesses or development areas. I want to know their core things. Because I will tell you, Steve, the best way to success, whatever they want to achieve, we'll get to I clearly ask them tons of questions. What do you expect of me? What do you want out of this? Where do you want to be in 6 months? Where do you want to be in a year? What is the possibility? What are the dreams? Like all that, of course. But as you can see, what I'm building with them is we know their values, true values. We know what really motivates them. We really know what they're out of this world in what they do. If we can hang in those areas, wow. I mean, whatever they want to do, if it's within that realm, we've got an unbelievable infrastructure to build the Ramona Mansion. And it all starts there. And so many people, when I work with them, sometimes I uncover they're in an environment culturally and the job they're doing, it's not within their value system. It's not anything to do with what motivates them. And they're not working very seldomly on anything that they're really good at. That they're good at it, but they're not doing anything that is their working genius or superpower.
Yeah.
So I wonder why they're not thriving.
And unhappy and depressed,
Yeah,
stressed.
that would be more of the bottom rung, I would kind of say. And I usually get mostly people that are pretty successful and good because they have this self-awareness of, I know I could be better. A lot of times the people that are really struggling, Steve, I don't ever get those calls because I think there's a reason they're at that point. They don't see their blind spots potentially, maybe as well, and they don't necessarily have the self-awareness potentially as others do. So that's why they're in that arena. But when we can get people, and maybe their current job does have the ability to bring their values, what motivates them, and their superpowers into it, it's unbelievable how their job satisfaction goes up, their efficiency and effectiveness goes up, and guess what? Their happiness goes up.
I tell you, it's powerful. And the phase one about the core values, that's worth the price of gold right there. That's worth the price of what you charge. Because once you know that, everything is cherry on the cake. Important, but right, that's where you start there because that's you. You can't build around anything. That's the foundation, right, of the house.
And people don't dig like I dig with them. Yeah. I'll get them to places they've never even thought about. And also people come to me, they've got career aspirations. They're like, how do I get where I want to go? Help me with the path. I'm not getting it as much or what I need. Because a lot of times, in fairness to a lot of leaders I work with, the pressure, the stress, the amount of time that they have to spend on managing the bottom line results and their widgets, they don't always get the time to help people with their careers and get them to where they go. So that's where I come in. How do we get them career experiences? How do we make introductions? How do we get them to learn new skills? So the next time they go for a job, they actually get it.
Yeah.
Let me say that again. Get it. Because as great as you might be in New York, your twin is in LA. And then your other twin is in Dallas, Texas. And the other one is in Denver. So now there's 4 people out there doing really good work, and you're all the same. All really good, high performers, etc. So now it's basically a 25% chance. Steve, I hate those odds. Hate them. What I do is, how do we increase those odds for that amazing employee in New York? So it's not 25%. So they're all really good, but you've done things they have never even thought about doing in your career experiences. So just a couple different things. It really depends. It's all customized. Everyone has different needs, wants, desires, whether it's leaders who public speaking is not where they need it to be. They use a lot of filler words, right? We help them with that.
Let's find a story in your head of a client you work with and tell us the success they had.
I'll give you one right that I think of her right out of the gate. Struggling with her team. High level, director level. Not getting the buy-in she desires. To the point it was starting to get to, I might need to start reshuffling the deck. We know what reshuffling the deck in corporate America is.
Not good.
Not good. Because it's going to set her back. And now, trust me, you and I, we've had this discussion before. If people aren't going to do the job, unfortunately, they're dictating their future. I'm not. You're not. They're telling us, hey, I want out. Okay? They're just doing it in a different way. But what we uncovered through some different ways is, unfortunately, she didn't realize it, but we did some work on what her superpowers are, what her team's superpowers, non-superpowers are. We also did it. We got DISC involved, and I'm a crazy man when it comes to DISC, and that is a personality assessment. So we understand our behaviors, in turn, then, so we can understand others' behaviors. And my mom, who raised me by herself with my grandparents, She's amazing, but she was wrong. She brought us up on the gold standard of treatment. Treat people how you want to be treated. And that's really not the way it works in the world we live in today. It's the platinum. Treat people how they want to be treated.
Yeah.
So what DISC enabled us with this client and all these other things we talked about was she was just talking the language the same with all of them. So she lost half of them. She didn't have many of them engaged. I don't want to say not respect, but once we put all this together, the light went on with her and them. And it became new culture. It became new productivity. It became new understanding of each other. We eliminated the Sunday blues. And for everyone out there, the Sunday blues is this. At 7, 8 o'clock, you're already starting to ruin your night because you're dreading Monday morning. That's what Win the 16 calls the Sunday blues. I always ask my clients that. If they have that, I want to try to help them eliminate that. Now, that does not mean there are not times I wish, God, I was off Monday, Steve, so I could have a longer weekend. That's all of us. That's human. But if it's routinely, that's a Houston, we got problem moment.
Yeah.
I want to get involved. Let's dissect that. Let's find out why that is. And she had team members that way.
Yeah.
So
Sunday Blues should be a song. Now, as I think of that, but it's a good point. I haven't had that in years. I know you don't either. We've talked about that. 5 o'clock Monday morning comes, I'm ready to roll, doing my thing. I got so many people to serve. I love that mentality. Regards to business people and personal life.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about it, but people like bridging, they're different. Well, they're tied together. How does Win the 16 help that person that is going through a divorce at home, but is not, in this case, taking care of their team because it's bridging over. It's spilling over is probably a better word. God, my divorce in my head, I'm talking to my team. I'm thinking, oh my God, how much money am I going to lose? All the things that come with these different traumas in our life. How does Win the 16 help with that?
Wow. It's such a complex topic because let me jump ahead to something too on this personal professional. I think we'd all agree. We try to compartmentalize that, but we all know we only can do such a good job with it, especially with cell phones, text messages, because we all can get triggered. It's human nature. Use your example, the divorce. The attorney sends you a message. You're rocking and rolling, and you get that. It's going to completely take you down for that moment, hard. The other thing that we've got going on in the world of human resources, and I applaud them and our legal teams. I applaud them. They're just trying to protect us with the job they're doing. I know many people in the business world can give a hard time to the HR department as well as the legal department. And I understand, I get the frustrations, but they're just trying to protect us and the organization. That's what they're paid to do. So we have to respect that. But that comes into that because you've got to be careful as a leader. You don't want to cross that line in personal because now you're getting potential HR legal thing, right, Steve? So when you ask that question, I'm just bringing up the complexities that people have to think of and be cognizant of when they're going through this journey with employees. I could give potentially a couple things that I always like to give, maybe potential ideas, tips that maybe might help people who are listening or watching us today, as well as it might get them to think of a better idea.
There you go.
I don't call it work-life balance in Win the 16 anymore. There is no balance. There is none. Very few people live a life of, okay, I work, okay, that's done, it's turned off, now I'm family, that's turned off, now I go to, it's not like that anymore. It's not 1978 where grandpa came home from ComEd and we ate at 5 o'clock and we all were there. And then we left to go play and then the lights started to come on and that was our curfew to get home. It's not how it is anymore. So what I call it, for me, is work-life harmony. How do we make our work and life harmonious, knowing Steve Ramona on a Friday is going to be working late doing this television show, doing all the behind the scenes once we get off the show, well into your Good Friday. That would not be work-life balance. But knowing you're going to get to your life at some point tonight and over the weekend to create a work-life harmonious life for you. And that's where I think what it does is it gets away from balance, because balance to me sends a message of, I think of the scales in the health clubs where you step on it in the little weight thing.
Yeah.
It says where you're going to work 6 hours, you're going to have 6 hours of this. And that's just not how it works. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. But what Win the 16 says is, in the end, however you look at your month, your day, your week, your quarter, are you taking time to make sure you do have a work-life harmony? So if you were traveling for a convention all week, doggone it, you've got to be disciplined and put your stuff away and say, I'm going to be present, and it's now to create that harmonious work-life harmonious situation. And that's incumbent upon you. And that might even be telling your boss, I'm shutting down. For leaders out there, I do have, may I share this, Steve?
Yeah.
I know for many of us leaders out there, we're doing things on the weekend. We're shooting off emails because we just didn't have time on Friday. The clock ran out. And I go to some of my leaders, I said, how do you think your team's receiving that? They're like, I don't expect them to respond over the weekend. I said, the message it sends. Think about the message. I'm not telling you to change. I'm just giving you a thought. Let's think about that. They come Monday morning and they have 7 messages on a Saturday and 2 on a Sunday. Is that the culture you want? That you're demonstrating you're working 24/7, 7 days a week? Maybe it is. I'm just getting them to think. The other message is, some of your people, this is why DISC is so critical, people that are very buttoned up and organized. They don't want to wake up to a messy, sloppy email. And to them, a messy email is they got 16 of them or 39 waiting for them Monday morning. Now, Mr. CEO, Mr. Leader, Mr. Boss, I tell them, think about this. What do you want out of your employees Monday morning? Dave, I want them running. I want them flying out the door. I want them rolling. They're responding to your emails.
That's perfect. Well, we've come to the end. Time flew.
Yes, sir.
Win the 16 book is on Amazon. It's
Yes.
also on the website. How can people get a hold of you?
Pygon1.com. It's the full word one. So it's PYGON and then one. ONE.com. Pygon1.com. And if you ever want a conversation, let me know. I'd love to have just a conversation and hear your story and learn about you. We all have one.
And he will do it too, because I know him very well. So he'll do that. I want to thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, with Together We Serve television show. See you all.